The Great Generational Void. We can boldly proclaim that our culture has failed us in this 21st century and that all these self-centered snowflakes are taking over the world, self-centered kids walking around always looking for the next plaque and award and taking 100% responsibility for any success they achieve and give 100% blame on everything else but themselves when things go wrong. If we're honest, a picture is worth 1,000 words. Here's before, and here's right now. But maybe we've been missing something right under our noses. What if I told you that you've been caught in an avalanche, a runaway effect? What if I told you that what's going on today was actually started long before you were born? And now we're just looking at the aftermath, the price of progress. What can be done to make this world a better place? Let's jump back a century to see where the challenge began. History time! My great-grandparents grew up in a world where making charcoal more effectively was the new technology. And in their time, the major way of passing on knowledge from one generation to my grandparents was through one-on-one mentoring. My grandparents grew up in a world where phones became a thing. Technology just started right around their time. The Industrial Revolution was coming to an end and the stage was being set up for the technological revolution to come in. By the time my grandparents died, iPhones were the phones, not Morse code. Long live Morse code. My grandmother's generation was the last group to experience the full force, the full impact of one-on-one mentorship as the dominant force behind how knowledge was passed on. By the time my parents' generation hit the scene, my grandparents' skills were less applicable to their kids. This is where the kids had to move away from family and seek out a living away from their parents. After learning the life basics through mentorship from their parents, my grandparents, my parents had to figure out life pretty much on their own. There was no mentoring beyond the basics, and this is where the skill of mentorship started dying out. Because my parents had to spend a lot more time on focusing learning new things, they never learned the art of mentorship. In comes the next generation, like myself and my siblings. Keep in mind, my parents know at best at this point 50% of what is to know about mentoring someone else, since my grandparents never had the chance to mentor my parents to the full 100%. Right around this time in the 70s, when my older siblings were being born, the technological revolution hit full force. Things started to change super quick. This meant that children had to adapt, and by now, only my 2 older siblings of the 6 kids in our family actually got any kind of mentoring. And even then, at best, they got 25% of the skill passed on to them. As you see, the lines between each generation are changing. This red line now starts becoming a canyon. Most kids born in the 80s and beyond never got to experience what true mentorship is. We had to learn the art of learning because of how things change so quickly. With mentorship, our nearly extinct skill, by now, self-reliance is the name of the game. We're naturally going to start coming across as self-centered. We grew up in a world that's shifting so quick under our feet that our human nature was never addressed. Humans, we need to feel like we're moving ahead. We need a mentor to tell us where we're doing good or where we're doing bad. That's how our brains function. But we've been missing out on that. But instead of mentors guiding us like they have for thousands of years, the only thing we have to gauge our own worth and progress is by the very things we laugh at and make fun of. We say, "Those snowflakes," not realizing we are condemning ourselves for not seeing what's actually happening and that we are the reason for that. Now, here's the kicker. My siblings had their own kids, my nephews and nieces. These kids never got any mentoring for the most part. And now they are about to have their own kids. At this stage of human development, the name of the game is to learn how to gather information, while mentorship by now is completely out of the picture for nearly 4 generations. If I don't focus on me, if I'm not learning, unlearning, and relearning, I'm in this world. This is the current mentality. But the older generations are the people who have all this life skill, and instead of passing it on and passing their knowledge on, they are sitting on the sidelines, retired, trying to figure out what trip to take next, and never taking responsibility or even realize that their duty to pass on their own wisdom, that the practical side of life to the younger generations is their responsibility to pass on to us. Technology has helped us, but starting with our grandparents' generations, humans just got sucked into this new world and they didn't even realize it. We are living in a world full of awesome, amazing technology, at the same time, a growing canyon between us and mentorship. Name calling these new generations snowflakes is forgetting that you are the clouds, and I am the next cloud for the next generations. How do we build a bridge? How do we build up our ability and skill to effectively mentor the succeeding generations? Mentoring is a skill, and it's also an art form. That's why I decided to focus my life on helping people, to teach them how to pick a life direction. I saw how my grandfather helped people pick their life direction right up until 3 days before he passed away. And the only reason he stopped 3 days before was because his body could no longer generate enough oxygen to breathe. I saw how this impacted people, and I vowed to carry on the torch. I traveled the country to learn the skill and created a blueprint, an online course, and a community where you can go and constantly be learning. Learning how to pick a life direction is something we all have to face multiple times throughout our life. That's why this is such a great skill to have. It's one of the best places to learn the art of mentorship because you'll always have people around you who need help with picking their next life direction. Be bold and hold off on calling other generations snowflakes and help guide them, mentor them, be the reason they become a better generation than any other previous generation walked planet Earth. If you want to learn more about how to help others clarify their life direction and at the same time becoming a greater mentor, go to theclarifiers.com/the journey to start developing your mentoring skills. We've got a few PDFs that reveal to you the whole process 100%. And it's free. They're blueprints to help guide you on this journey of learning how to pick a life direction and then turning around, effectively teaching somebody how to do this. And if you want even more, how to teach them to teach others. And if you want even more like our online training courses where we help you learn this step by step, you can reserve a seat for this course by going to theclarifiers.com/online course. We only open up for 6 students at a time. So when the next class opens up, we'll shoot you an email and let you know that there's an open seat. I wish you the best on this mentorship journey.